I love to eat. Now, I particularly like to try new foods, which is tricky with 3 young kids because they don't necessarily enjoy trying new foods. That's not entirely true. They're open to tasting new things, just not usually consuming them in the quantities that they're not asking 5 minutes later, can I have a snack? As an adult, I used to give my parents a hard time for always serving the same meals, but now with kids of my own, it makes sense. It's just easier to serve what they'll eat rather than giving them something they won't. But again, as someone who loves food, particularly varieties of food, that's tough. And given my affinity for foods, it's certainly not lost on me that in Revelation 19, God's eschatological victory is celebrated with a meal. And Christianity can frequently be portrayed as austere, overemphasizing the spiritual at the expense of the physical. And clearly that's not the case. I mean, in the Gospels, Jesus gives insight into a critique often directed against him. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, here is a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Jesus liked food. He was no stranger to a party, as it was in his earthly ministry, so it will be in the new creation. Now, to clarify, this isn't just any dinner, or any party for that matter. In verse 7, we're told, let us rejoice and be glad and give him glory, for the wedding of the Lamb has come, and his bride has made herself ready. Verse 9, then the angel said to me, write this, blessed are those who are invited to the wedding supper of the Lamb. And he added, these are the true words of God. Now, weddings are a big deal today, right? But in ancient Jewish culture, wedding celebrations were known to last a week or longer. That's what we have in store. Literally the party to end all parties. We're not only the intended guests of said wedding, we're also the bride. Babylon, who we looked at in the preceding chapters, was the prostitute. We as the church are the bride. Now, if you're a Bible reader, this shouldn't be surprising. In Ephesians 5, Paul connects his instructions for husbands to Jesus' relationship to the church. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. Now, throughout the Old Testament, God's relationship with his people has been described as a love relationship, where God is depicted as a faithful husband and his people all too often behaving as the adulterous spouse. Now, what makes the church different? When we know ourselves to be equally prone to waywardness, temptation, and sin. The difference, to go back to Paul's words, is based on Jesus' cleansing work. We don't present ourselves without stain, wrinkle, or blemish. We couldn't. But Christ can and has. That doesn't mean we do nothing. We work out our salvation with fear and trembling. We partner with God, knowing our bridegroom and what he's done. We prepare. Hence verse 8, fine linen, bright and clean, was given her to wear. Fine linen, which stands for the righteous acts of God's holy people. We dress ourselves in righteousness because it's been given to us. In other words, he made us righteous. Clothing ourselves in it is our response. It's a reflection of our new identity in him, and it's preparation for an eternity spent with him. Have a great week.